on. Come on. All right. What the hell's going on out here in podcast land tonight? Podland. What's up, Podlanders?
What are you playing that for?
I don't know. I just put some music on in the background to make sure the audio.
I heard he was sick. That's why I thought you were playing that.
Oh no, really, Ian?
Yeah, he's in bad shape, man.
Oh,
what I read that last week somewhere. That's why I thought you were playing that.
Oh, sugar!
Slipped away on us or what?
I hope not.
He just jinxed it.
Yeah, he'll be dead by the end of the podcast. Thanks, Keith.
Well, hey, I didn't play. I'm just saying. That's what I thought you were doing.
I'm just saying. They
jump on that. When people pass away, there all of a sudden that everybody rocks out the Aqualung.
Oh crap! I did interview Martin Barr, the guitar player. I got to meet him. It was cool. Him and Anderson don't get along.
Of course,
it's a dispute over money.
It's always about money.
It's always about that dang money. People and that money. That money making me feel funny. All right, you guys ready to talk about Mr. Big and the damn Yankees?
Yes.
Damn Yankees.
Them damn Yankees.
Them damn Yankees. All right.
That video was shot in New Orleans, I found out.
Which one? Here I go again? Here I come again?
No. High enough.
High enough.
That's what I read. There's the
Here I go again.
It's called Here I Come Again.
You said Here I Go
Oh,
again.
Here I Go Again. That's the Whitesnake song.
Next week's Whitesnake.
Yeah.
Maybe.
What lineup of Whitesnake is the best?
That's probably a good one, actually.
That is a great one. I don't even know the answer. I'll let you pick.
All right. You could do that podcast about the same thing about Deep Purple as well. Mm-hmm. They had lineup changes with great. The Coverdale was in Deep Purple. Just come to think of it.
I'll say this about Deep Purple: that Ian Pace is the best drummer Deep Purple's ever had.
Yeah, he's great. Okay. All right.
He's the only drummer they've ever had.
I get it.
Do you know what I mean?
We got you.
Thank you, Mr. Obvious.
Hey, they've been through a lot of guitar players, so I mean, hey.
Oh my God.
That's better now.
Yeah, the guy Richie Blackmore though is the guy.
None more black.
Oh, sure.
So okay. All right. I think we got everything kind of ready to go here. There's always some computer snafu. All right, here we go. Damn Yankees versus Mr. Big. With special guest, the Wolfman.
Where's the Wolf?
He's up there.
Here, brother.
You see him?
There he is. All right.
All
right. So I thought I've seen him before.
Wolfman. How?
Wolf and Raven.
Wolf and Raven. All right. Okay, here we go.
Raven's here too.
There you go.
Okay, let's get the party started. Here we go, guys. Here we go. As the 1980s were winding down and hair metal seemed to be all the rage, two supergroups emerged that seemed to break the mold. Damn Yankees and Mr. Big played versions of melodic hard rock with less focus on image and more focus on songwriting and musicianship. On this week's show, we pit these two masters of melodic yet hard-driving rock against each other. Who will be the victor? Tune into this week's Loudini Rock Roll Circus to find out. Also on this week's show, welcome our very special guest host, Chris Thunderwolf Dodson from wolfscustoms.online. Stick around, you don't want to miss it. You're listening to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus, changing rock history one podcast at a time. All right, everybody, welcome back to the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus. My name is Lou Lombardi, a.k.a. Loudini. And tonight we're going to be talking about Damn Yankees versus Mr. Big. A few shout-outs first. First of all, a shout-out to our affiliate, Rock Rage Radio. Go to rockrageradio.com. All right. And you can download the app and listen to great guitar-driven rock 24/7. If you love great guitar-driven rock from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and even today, the place you want to go to meet the coolest music fans and some of the greatest musicians as well is you want to go to this place called LouLombardiRocks.com. It's an awesome fan group, awesome musicians group. Check it out, LouLombardiRocks.com. I always talk about our sponsor, Wolf's Customs. Well, Wolf's Customs is in the house. Chris Thunderwolf Dodson. Chris, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Doing great, man. Why don't you tell I always give the spiel. Why don't you tell everybody a little what you do?
To keep it easy, we just refinish instruments of whatever kind I can get my hands on. I've got a specialty that's the hollow flash, which I can do on just about any flat surface. Keith, you know about this.
I have a drum.
Yes.
I'm gonna go. Maybe between breaks, I'm gonna go fetch it, and I'll maybe show it to the
Show and tell.
to fans out there.
Show and tell
so they
time.
see it. So there
Cool,
you go.
cool. Yeah, I mean, some minor repair. I don't do custom building. It's just custom refinishing.
Awesome.
As of now.
Excellent. And you can find out more about the refinishings on musical instruments that Wolf's Customs does at wolfscustoms.online. And as you heard, we got the Hawkmeister himself, Keith the Hawk Hawkins. What's going on, buddy? You all right?
Damn right. That's right. Damn right. If things were any better right here, I would go insane.
Oh my. Oh, that good, huh? Did you
man, it's rocking and rolling and whatnot.
Did you play that gig, that outdoor thing?
Yeah, I played. It was at a campground. There was no social distancing going on whatsoever. Matter of fact, and I think my fever has hit 150 today. No, it was a fun time. I'm sure that it was fun. A lot of people jam packed, sweaty. I'm sure somewhere in that vicinity, a trailer park was dark and empty. If you know what I mean. But it's just one of them things where. It was a good time. It was good to play in front of some people beside my bedroom window.
Yeah. There's been a lot of that going on. I got you, brother. All right, man. We're going to get into the topic here in a minute, but first we're going to start out with a band. We always play bands here on the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus, as you guys know. Last week, I did not get a chance to play Dead Man's Whiskey, so we're going to do it today. This is Last Train. We'll be right back to talk about Damn Yankees versus Mr. Big on the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus.
What's that?
Got to play out.
Oh, yeah, got it. It was fun playing.
But that feels good.
Yeah, it did. Good to feel something good. Dan was so Oh, it's nice.
You're missing the last train home, and I missed introducing the lovely and talented Miss Lily V6.
What the hell, man?
I know.
Damn, dude.
You're
Fired.
I'm
should
fired.
You
I
should
have
probably
to fire myself.
Be first every week, you know? That should be the first thing you do every week.
I know, it's usually, but I had Chris Thunderwolf Dodson on, and I got myself all...
He got real excited,
Yeah,
like a puppy.
I know. What was I going to say, you know?
Get all wet in the pants, huh?
I know.
And I don't
It's
know
cool.
what the-
I haven't done anything interesting other than being outdoorsy, which is not like me at all. I've been walking.
And Lily's wearing a dress. For
And I'm
this.
wearing a dress. I'm wearing a
she's-
dress.
Yeah. She's all
wrong with
like
that?
dressied up.
But it doesn't have pockets. I'm a little upset about that.
Wow. That's crazy.
That's a big deal for girls. Sorry. We like pockets in our dresses.
Really?
Yeah, that's a huge deal.
I had no idea.
I like pockets in my shorts.
Right. Yeah.
In your underpants?
No, not those shorts. Other shorts.
Oh, okay.
All
we
the other
know why.
shorts.
You got to put your. I got a lot of stuff I got to carry around. My phone, keys,
Wallet.
stuff like that.
Wallet, money.
Drumsticks.
No, I only think you should have a wallet if you have money.
Oh,
If you don't-
gotcha. I forgot.
That's only for those of us
Can't put it
with money.
There's nothing to put in it, so I mean, I can put my license in my pocket and then just be gone with it.
All right, guys. So we're talking about Damn Yankees versus Mr. Big, and these two bands came out around the same time. Mr. Big predates Damn Yankees by a few months,
Yeah.
maybe not quite a year. Damn Yankees had actually formed in '89, but did not release any music till 1990. But the first Mr. Big is '89.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you want to give us a little history, Lil?
Sure, and I apologize because nothing was working for me at work today, so my notes are on the phone and I'm blind, so I'm going to be like going like this. So Battle of the Supergroups. So we're going to start with Damn Yankees. American rock supergroup formed in '89 in LA. They did only have 2 albums. In my opinion, though, I think they left a huge impact on people due to the talent that was actually in the band. So not very forgettable at all. Tommy Shaw, Jack Blades from Night Ranger, Ted Nugent, and Michael how do you say that guy's name? Cartellone?
Bartoloni.
So it's super
Cardelloni.
Italian. Okay.
Super Italian.
Their self-titled debut album went double platinum in 1990. And that is one of my favorite albums to listen to for anything, working out, driving, what have you. Jack Blades is the lead singer on Coming of Age, which was number 60, also one of my favorite songs on the Hot US 100, and number 1 on AOR, which is album-oriented rock charts. For anyone who doesn't know what AOR is. Their ballad High Enough rose to number 3 on the Hot 100 and number 2 on AOR. And this was Ted Nugent's first mainstream top 10 single.
Yeah, a great big video. Really big video on MTV.
Yes. Their songs are on several soundtracks, including Gremlins 2, Nothing But Trouble, and The Taking of Beverly Hills. And they went on an 18-month tour after the debut album released with a revamped Bad Company, Poison, and Jackal.
Wow.
So that's
Oh no, Jackal. I opened for Jackal one time.
Did you?
Yeah, I don't even know why.
Because somebody was paying you.
the second album, Don't Tread, went gold in 1992. Jack Blades vocalized the title song, Don't Tread on Me. Had tons of coverage at the Barcelona Olympic Games that year. The song The Silence is Broken was featured in Nowhere to Run. In 1994, Nugent left the band to go do solo again, and Tommy Shaw and Jack Blades became Shaw Blades. And then in 1999, Shaw and Blades got together with Nugent to record a new album called Bravo. However, the band members and the record label were not happy with it, so it was never a thing. And then 2004, they reunited for Alice Cooper's charity show, Christmas Pudding. So that's some information on that. Oh, and I did get to see them together once. It was awesome.
Really?
Yes.
Where at?
Star Lake, a long time ago.
So you actually saw Damn Yankee?
Yeah.
Oh, you suck.
Yeah. I was
I've
very
never seen
lucky.
them. That's pretty wild. I've never seen them. That must have been a while ago. I mean,
I was super young, but it was very
yeah,
very
I would
lucky.
think, yeah. 'Cause I didn't see that. I didn't see that at all. So
I
never seen Mr. Big either. But so
I did see Mr. Big.
I remember just being very, very excited when High Enough came on, and I'm like flapping my arms like a little girl, going, "Oh my god, I love this song!"
Well, but you were a little girl.
Yeah, well, I would probably do that now as an adult.
Beth Pertinel is Beth. I slaughtered your last name. Beth is our next door neighbor too.
Oh, we have a neighbor too. We have more than one.
Lily is your neighbor, Beth. I don't know if you know that.
Hi, Beth. I'm your neighbor next to Lou.
So, anyways, Keith. So, what are your thoughts on the Yanksters?
On Damn Yankees. This band is. I was watching a little there's a 45-minute unclassified little short documentary on them on YouTube, which I actually got to check out. There's a lot of interesting facts about this band. I never knew. I mean, I gotta obviously go. The names of the bands are huge, except for Michael Cardelloni, who was basically a young, upcoming drummer. He actually was playing with Tommy Shaw. That's how he got the gig, from what I understand.
And later he played for Skinner.
Oh yeah, sure. I've actually seen him with Skinner. He's a good drummer. That's a very interesting setup. But yeah, he said the interesting thing he said in an interview was he was working a 9-to-5 job in New York. He was playing with Tommy Shaw when he could, and he was still doing the regular job thing. And then a year after that, he was in Damn Yankees touring the world. So it was kind of like this whole whirlwind thing. So that whole little portion of that 2 years of his life where he was thrust into the big time. But I think the one thing about this band that's very, I guess, ear-catching for me, we'll use the term, Jack Blades and Tommy Shaw were meant to sing together. Mm-hmm. They were born to sing harmonies. Once they start singing together, I mean, Tommy Shaw is a great vocalist, and I think he can harmonize with anybody. But, I mean, everybody talks about, how great, vocals are. And, of course, the Beatles come to mind, Fleetwood Mac, etc. This band is up there with a lot of the top heavyweights. This band has some serious harmonies going on. And Ted Nugent has his own thing when it comes to vocals. I'm not saying he's a great singer, but he can still sing a few tracks off these albums. But when it comes to Jack Blades and Tommy Shaw, those guys are right there, man, with harmonies. That makes any of their songs catchy as hell, because once them two start singing, it's over with, man. You're sucked in.
They're definitely pretty perfect together. I love them.
Yeah, them voices. I mean, I don't want to say it's McCartney and Lennon, but it's definitely
it's like a reincarnation.
It's a match made in heaven, because they're just definitely meant to sing together. That's the thing about that signature sound of that band. And I think they've had both of these bands have a very similar approach to music. Nice straight ahead hard rock, but I mean definitely the harmonies, and not that Mr. Big doesn't have good harmonies, we'll get to that, but it's like the harmonies pop out, and they're very, very just it's awesome to hear people
do
sing
we have
like
any
that.
Do we have any information on how Jack Blades and Tommy Shaw became acquainted? I mean, I'm sure. I mean, Night
don't
Ranger.
know that.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna go off of what I remember off this little documentary last night. I think the band started from somebody's manager knew somebody else, and Tommy Shaw and Ted Nugent got together first, and everybody was thinking that because I guess Ted was very leery of it, because none of these people at the time were doing anything. Tommy Shaw was really on the outs with Styx, from what I understand. Night Ranger wasn't doing really much, and basically Jack Blades was sitting around just trying to make music with whoever, but it was nothing really happening. Shaw did have his own thing, and Ted Nugent's Ted Nugent. He's going to do something, but somebody's manager knew Ted Nugent's manager, I guess was Tommy Shaw's manager, and he got those two together, and they said it was an instant chemistry between those two, believe it or not. And then the Jack Blaze things comes in later, because Jack Blaze came in more a couple months later after they were writing had some ideas down, and Jack Blaze instantly just melded with the band. So it was kind of like, you would say lucky, but it's just, I mean, when you get talented people together, hopefully it works out. Usually it works out. Sometimes it don't, too many egos. But in this case, it all blended well.
Well, what happened with Styx when their guitarist, after Lady broke, which was their big song, their guitarist at the time he was married and had a family, and he just didn't want to leave his family. And so they brought this young kid in, this Tommy Shaw, and Tommy really got the gig. He's a very, very fine guitar player, but he really got the gig because of his voice and his songwriting.
Yeah,
and
Dennis DeYoung always said that. He's like, Tommy Shaw can hit those high notes.
Yeah, and he's really the voice of those background vocals when on the Dennis DeYoung songs. It's really Tommy. So Tommy's one of those guys. He's like Michael Anthony from Van Halen. You know what I mean? It's just like got that great voice. I think that just really works well. He's just been able to land those kind of gigs where he's just been able to just. It's unbelievable. It's really incredible.
He can just work it.
Yeah.
And he's a good guitar player too. I mean, people
yeah.
don't really realize that. He could play lead guitar if he had to in a band. I mean, it's just.
Well, he did. He did in Styx. He played a lot of solos.
He does with him and Jay White. I mean, they worked well together. So but that voice, man, will take you places.
I know.
So.
There's a funny story. We're all from the Pittsburgh area here, and there's a funny story that I heard Scott Paulson tell about Donnie Iris opening for Damn Yankees, and he was doing his encore. He was singing Aaliyah, and on the outro, he's hitting that high stuff. He says Tommy Shaw came running out of the dressing room and had to hear who was singing that. He was completely blown away with Donnie Iris's voice. So,
well, I mean, who's not?
Go Donnie, go Donnie.
And we had a little debate last week. Not a debate, but a wondering of if Jack Blades is his real name. I can't find him under any other name but Jack Martin Blades. So that he's literally got the coolest name in rock.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, with a name like that, you were born to be a rock star, right? Night Ranger, though, has reunited. And
I've seen him a couple times.
Yeah, and are doing things. Jeff Watson's not in the group, but the Brad Gillis still is, and they are still a thing. I mean, it's never going to be pop music, but it is what it is. So what about these other guys that are on our roster this evening? Mr. Big,
who I've also seen, which was pretty awesome. I
saw Mr. Big as well. I saw them at the Jurgles.
I saw them at Chevy Amphitheater Station Square, and they were actually opening for Whitesnake, which was pretty cool. American hard rock supergroup formed in LA in 1988 by Billy Sheehan with the help of Mike Varney from Shrapnel Records. They had tons of success in Japan, and especially with the debut album, but not so much stateside with that album. Consists of Eric Martin, Paul Gilbert, Billy Sheehan, Pat Torpey, and Matt Starr later on, who was the drummer. After Pat had some complications with Parkinson's, he passed away, so they got a new drummer. They had several hits and are known for their musicianship. They have super strong vocals and harmonies. I do love Eric's voice a lot. He sounds wonderful. I don't like as many songs from Mr. Big as I do Damn Yankees. In 1990, the group toured America and opened for Rush on the Presto tour.
And I missed that tour, damn it.
And two of the songs, Strike the Lightning and Shadows, were exclusively released on the soundtrack for Navy SEALs, which I've never seen, but I hear people making fun of.
Yeah, it's always one of those that comes up as a joke, Navy SEAL.
The second album, 1991's Lean Into It, was a major commercial breakthrough, especially the two ballads, To Be With You, which obviously was huge, and Just Take My Heart. In 1992, for 3 nights, they actually opened for Aerosmith at Wembley Arena. 1999, Gilbert left the band and reformed Racer X, and they brought Richie Kotzen in to fill his position.
Who's no slouch.
Right.
You ever notice whenever you need a replacement for somebody, Richie Kotzen just slides right in there?
He knows what's up.
Well, he's another guy like Tommy Shaw who's got an amazing voice and is an amazing
No, he could
guitar
sing.
player.
I mean, he definitely could sing, but he's like, I know it's very hard to replace CC DeVille, but I mean, you know, he slid into Poison pretty good. But yeah, it's just, you know, that sarcasm is another service I offer.
You can replace CC, but you can't replace his crazy.
Well, yeah, it's true. Every band needs one crazy person.
Tension actually developed when Sheehan started touring for Steve Vai. I mean, I would tour with Steve Vai if I was talented enough. And the rest of the band sort of got mad and started writing songs without him. They attempted to fire him from the band he created, but then agreed to keep going as long as there was a reunion tour, which happened. And then the band broke up in 2002. And then they started another reunion tour, or a farewell tour, excuse me. They started a reunion tour in 2009 with the original lineup. And I was actually able to see this show in Pittsburgh at Station Square, like I said earlier. And their hits, like I said, included To Be With You, which was #1 in 15 countries in 1992, and then Just Take My Heart were the two big ones.
They have a remake. They also do a remake of the Cat Stevens song,
Wild World.
Wild World. They are cited as the band that started the Big in Japan phenomenon.
Yes.
Because they were absolutely huge. Even their first record, which I love, Addicted to That Rush, is just like that
was the first thing I ever heard by them.
Yeah,
it was a video of Pro and Headbangers Bars
yeah.
and stuff like that. But when I seen that, I was like, oh, they're coming out swinging, because it was all that like tapping and going. Billy Sheehan's like two-handed tapping the bass, and Paul Gilbert's all over the place, and you know, that was pretty funny.
It's an aggressive song.
Yeah, but that was like when they came on. Then all of a sudden you hear like songs like "To Be With You," and you start making fun of them. Then you're like, "Shit, man, they're making fun of themselves all the way to the bank."
Yeah. I love that record. We did Addicted to That Rush in the band I was in at the time, and I spent many, many hours in a practice room learning Paul Gilbert's guitar parts on that. That's some sick shit. Chris, you a Mr. Big fan? You like Billy Sheehan or Paul Gilbert?
Love Billy Sheehan, especially when him and Vi were working together with David Lee Roth. If you're asking for one or the other right now, I'd have to go with the latter.
Okay. Yeah, that's really where Billy Sheehan was in Talus.
Yeah,
correct?
I saw Talus recently, yes.
And then that's how he came out of Talus, and of course Steve Vai came out of Frank Zappa's band. And they met in the David Lee Roth thing, which I just heard Yankee Rose today on the radio for the first time in a long time. I heard it on Hair Nation.
Oh yeah, it's always on there.
I swear to God, I hear that song like every day if I'm in the band. There's like 2 rock stations in New Orleans, believe it or not. That's it. And one's 92.3 the alt, which is like mostly alternative rock, and then there's another one who plays like all classic rock. And every day they play Yankee Rose. It must be like one of them things where they just have it on a constant loop, because this shit is on constantly. Every time I get in the van, turn on that channel, boom, one rock station, there it is. Here we go, David Lee Roth.
It's
Yankee Rose again.
Yeah, well, it's probably probably a hot track in that market. You know, focus groups. You know, they poll people and they find out. What are you going to say?
Well, we didn't have any rock stations when I was living in Miami, so every other song on the radio was Pitbull. So be lucky you have Yankee Rose on every day.
I remember when the song broke, DVE played it, and I remember that was the song. That was the premiere as David Lee Roth as a solo artist, and just being completely like, oh crap, like, you know, this is really something hot.
They gave the ultimate FU to Van Halen on that one. I mean, he upgraded through the entire lineup.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. But Mr. Big, I really like the first record. I think that I'm a sucker for a great pop tune. I think To Be With You was a cool band. I mean, it's cute. It's no different than Extreme doing More Than Words or something like that.
Well, everybody has one at least.
You know, it wasn't all that.
Everybody needs a power ballad, man.
Yeah.
It was a thing. It was a pattern after.
And I got to say, the guitar solo in To Be With You is no joke. It's really
that's some real shit there.
Yeah, I mean,
he does that little classical run at the end of that one. I'm like, and he like plucks the string. That's it, because there's no solos like that. You know what I mean? That's dope, man. For real.
And now it's some serious stuff.
That's good shit right there.
So, and I like I also do like Eric Martin's voice, and there's good vocals in that band. I saw them live at Jurgles what was one of the last year, and harmonies all night, Like everybody
Oh,
sings
yeah.
well.
They still sound good.
Yeah, they still sound
Yeah.
absolutely great. Really enjoyed it. Different drummer. They don't have the guy from Skinnerd in it. But they got a different drummer. But yeah, I mean, great band. So we're gonna do a little bit more comparing, contrasting when we come back here. But this is a band called what the heck are these guys called? Oh, Shadow of the Cloud. We're going to come back in a little bit, and this is a song called Potion. We're going to come back in a little bit and talk a little bit more about these two amazing supergroups from about the same era. And also want to hit you guys up with a little history as to kind of what was going on in entertainment this time. You guys are going to get a kick out of some of this stuff. So we'll be right back on the Loudini Rock and Roll Circus with Keith the Hawk Hawkins, Lily V6, and Chris Thunderwolf Dodson. We'll be right back.
Shadows, hesitation laced with fear. Feels like something seems to shield me from the storm. Every time I fail to see the light inside the dark. One more time, open my eyes. I need to believe. You came to me to be my guiding light. I ingest you like a potion to change the way I've been. Because my demon keeps escaping from within. I feel you dwell in me to shield me from the storm. Knowing that I'll fail to see the light inside the dark. One more time, open my eyes. I need to believe. You came to me to be my guardian. Just one more time, open my eyes. I need to believe. You came to me to be my guiding light.
Potion by Shadows of the Cloud. And we started the show with Dead Man's Whiskey. Let's give you guys the back or the info on those two bands. Shadows of the Cloud is at shadowsofthecloud.com. That's easy. And Dead Man's Whiskey is at deadmanswhiskey.co.uk. And we're talking about Damn Yankees. So I want to give you guys some interesting fun facts. So, Damn Yankees, Mr. Big, big starts in '89. They released their album. They get out front there a little bit before Damn Yankees. Now, in 1989, here were the popular movies, Keith.
Oh, good.
Driving Miss Daisy, Dead
Love
Poets Society.
Don't love it. You want my opinions on these, or are you just going to go?
No,
over
I'm
it?
just letting you know.
I'm not going to review. I'm just in the system.
I'm just giving you sort of like a little background, kind of what was happening in when Harry Met Sally had come out that year. License to Kill, Dead Poets Society, Back to the Future 2, and Ghostbusters 2, Lethal Weapon 2.
There's a lot of twos.
And Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, Batman. So there was a lot of stuff like that. Here were the bands that were popular when Mr. Big came out. Depeche Mode, Garth Brooks, Phil Collins. So these were like those 80s bands that were all the Bangles, Madonna, New Kids on the Block. So these guys came out in the heyday of that like 80s pop MTV type sound.
I had that Babysitter's Club books.
And
There's toys too.
yeah, there's some toys on this site here. We don't have to get into all of that.
Toys.
Yugo cars go bankrupt. Ford buys
There's a shocker.
Ford buys Jaguar. Ted Bundy is executed in Florida. Crazy stuff, huh? Nintendo releases.
The correct answer for that is who gives a shit, Ted. You should have had that a long time ago. People were so damn elusive. You would have got that before that. But go ahead.
Nintendo releases the Game Boy in Japan in April, in North America in July. United States provide assistance to the Colombian government to battle drug lords. So these are some of the things that were kind of happening. George Bush Sr. becomes president. Partial elections in the USSR. So just some interesting things. Just to kind of put this in, USSR pulls out of Afghanistan. Just to kind of give you guys a little bit of a put it in perspective as to kind of what was happening in the world, at that time. Now, just a year later, here's an interesting thing that happened. All of a sudden, all kind of stuff happens on TV. The Simpsons television show premieres. Sci-Fi Channel starts. Twin Peaks premieres. The Milli Vanilli Duo's producer reveals the Grammy-winning pop duo were lip-syncing.
Which is odd because most people today probably still do the same thing. So Milli Vanilli,
they were ahead of their time.
They were ahead of their time.
They were ahead of their time. And when that one show, when that little
Ashley Simpson,
the tape started skipping, and next thing you know, they're like running out of there with their, remember the video of dudes doing this? It's like you had just a crazy idea that just backfired at the time, but who would have thought? Years later. It's mainstay in pop music today. Very good, Milli Vanilli. Good on you, man.
Here's some bands that were popular. Remember Maxi Priest?
I do not.
You don't remember Maxi Priest?
I remember Kylie Minogue.
Do you remember? Some of you you guys maybe remember this little ditty, "Ice Ice Baby." Remember that one? That was a big hit that year. Yeah.
He never ripped that off. His was one note different. He said
it's not the same. It's not the same.
Tears for Fears were big that year. Rod Stewart again. Here's some of the movies that came out: Home Alone, The Hunt for Red October, Total Recall.
That's a good movie.
Yeah.
I like Tears for Fears, actually, to be honest with you. I'll admit it.
Yeah, I
think Everybody Wants to Rule the World is one of the best pop songs ever written, and I'll stand by that.
Keith Wants to Rule the World. One World Under Hawk.
I'll second
He's working on it.
What was that?
I'll second that.
I'll second that.
It's just a great song. It's just a great song. I mean,
it is.
It's probably Bill Gates' theme song at this point. But I mean, it's a whole. Let's talk it into that.
Do you remember the weird movie that came out, Dick Tracy?
I do. Madonna's in it.
So Warren Beatty.
And Warren Beatty.
Yeah, that was a very strange.
He has to be the most overrated actor I've ever seen in my life. Seriously, what has he ever done that is good?
I don't know if I like him in anything, quite honestly.
Exactly.
The first in-car satellite navigation system is sold by Pioneer. The Space Shuttle Discovery places the Hubble Space Telescope in orbit. Interesting stuff, huh? East and West Germany reunite, including currency and economies. Yeah, so earthquake in Iran kills 50,000.
Saturn range of cars are launched.
Yep, so the premiere of Saturn cars. So, so this is what's going. Oh, Operation Desert Shield, of course. Iraq, Saddam Hussein invades Kuwait, and we respond with the Desert Shield thing. So this is what's happening when Damn Yankees comes on the scene.
They're the Furby. The Furby came out.
The Furby came out. Yeah.
I think it was demonic.
So, I don't know. So here's the thing. Here's the thing with it. I got to give it to Damn Yankees. Here's why. Ted Nugent is in, joins like these two guys with these amazing voices writing this great pop rock. It's like something you would never. And just when you thought all those guys were like, kind of like, I don't really think, Styx isn't going to do anything. Night Rangers kind of had it. Nuge isn't really doing anything. They all kind of like unite and say, give the world a big middle finger and say, ha 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 ha. They didn't just make an album. They made like an amazing album that we're still talking about 30 years later.
Right.
So I gotta go. I think they nudge out Mr. Big on just on that alone. What do you guys think?
The songs are definitely better.
Yeah.
I mean, the musicianship isn't better. I'll have to go to bat for that. I think Mr. Big is better musicians all across the board. But that's,
technically,
yeah. But I mean, technically doesn't get you, the number one hit, sometimes. But Mr. Big, to counter that, Mr. Big had To Be With You is number one in 15 countries, did we say?
15.
Yeah. And they were very big in the Far East and in Japan. They were
They're still huge in Japan.
Yeah, they stayed huge for a long time.
It was the same as Citizen Dick, with Matt Dillon as their lead singer in singles. Citizen Dick was huge in Belgium.
Yeah, but dude, like being big in Asia is a thing.
Touch Me on Dick was triple platinum era.
Okay.
I don't know. If you just ask, you got to see the movie, I guess.
What I think is cool though is the fact that this is where Richie Kotzen and Billy Sheehan kind of first form a kind of relationship, and then a few years later, about 10, 15 years later, you have Winery Dogs, which I think is awesome. I know you're not a big Mike Portnoy fan, but
don't say that because I don't want drummers coming headhunting me.
But man, I think Winery Dogs.
There's a lot of people that are just uneducated that think that he's a effing drum god, and I'll throw my drums on the steps, and that'll be.
But Winery Dogs is a very cool thing. So I mean that's cool. And also, Mr. Big is a great rock band. I mean, because
they write good songs.
Yeah, because their songs didn't quite resonate in terms of big pop hits the way that Damn Yankees did doesn't mean that they couldn't write a song. I mean, I think that first album is full of cool tracks. Lily, what do you got?
Damn Yankees is going to be my vote, just because of the names in the band, and I really love Nugent's guitar riffs for a lot of the songs. I've seen them both. I love them both, but I'm going to give the edge to Damn Yankees on this one. I've always loved them.
Chris, what's on your mind, brother? What do you think about the situation?
Damn Yankees. I like them both, obviously, just like most of you guys do. I like more of their songs than the other.
Cool. Okay. I think that's kind of...
It's a wash.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much straight. There's a couple things I want to talk about before, since we're wrapping up on this stuff. On this day in 1966, the Beatles recorded Yellow Submarine.
Oh.
And thank God for that. Ringo finally got his due. His freaking due.
Gets his recognition.
Thank you, Ringo. Are you a great singer? No, but you put that shit out there, and that's good,
it.
buddy. Give the drummer something to say with that.
You did that psycho shit with the Yellow Submarine.
Let's see. Tragedy. 1974 on this day, Keith. Tragedy struck. Listen to this, dude. At a David Cassidy concert in London's White City, when over 1,000 fans had to be treated by first aid workers due to frenzied excitement.
They got the frenzy over David Cassidy?
Yes, one fan, Bernadette Whalen, died from heart failure 4 days later.
Now, never underestimate the power of stupid people in large numbers.
They caused a frenzy. I love that.
I just
when
think
Keith Partridge comes into your town, you're going to be ready to rock, man. That's all I got to say.
I'm going to hide.
I'm telling you, man, like that was the era, man, of those heartthrob kind of guys. They would get up there and the girls would just lose it.
Just like
one
Leif.
time, there was this Leif Garrett show down in Pittsburgh, and he was snorting coke off a stripper's ass, and he just caused a whole frenzy. It was ridiculous.
He did that often.
Yeah.
Now check this out. This is interesting. On this day in 1990, for the first time ever, top 5 positions on the U.S. singles chart were all held by female artists. Madonna was number 1 with Vogue. Hart was number 2. Sinead O'Connor was number 3. Wilson Phillips was number 4, and Janet Jackson number 5.
Woo.
Damn, that's some heavyweights there. Huh?
The women took over that year.
Yeah, that they were on 26th of May, 1990. On this day on 1994, Michael Jackson married Lisa Marie Presley.
That joke.
Which is a hoax, I think.
On this day in 96, a fire at the home of Eric Clapton caused over £1.5 million worth of damage. Oh, here's one for Lily. On this day in 2000, drummer Tommy Lee was jailed for 5 days for drinking alcohol.
That's something, huh? He's done worse than that.
Why is that? I mean, just drinking alcohol. Is that
I know.
illegal?
I read. Well, he was on probation. You're
Yeah.
not supposed to drink when you're on probation.
I know that better than anybody.
Shit. I've never been on probation.
I have. It sucks.
Wow. What were you on probation for?
That's not important.
Yeah, I think we all want to know.
DUI.
Oh my God.
If I would have got caught drinking after that in a bar during my probation, I would have gone straight to jail. Actually, yeah.
Now this is interesting. I did not know this. This is some controversy surrounding the death of B.B. King. On this day on May 26th of 2015, U.S. authorities were investigating the death of blues legend B.B. King after 2 of his daughters claimed he was poisoned.
Interesting.
Karen Williams and Patty King said the musician had been given a foreign substance to induce his premature death by his business manager.
Really?
So, yeah, he died. He was 89 years old. There doesn't say anything if anything ever came of that.
We'll have to Google that later.
Yeah, that's weird. Okay, we have some birthdays.
Forget the fried foods you probably ate for 70 years. But that's a whole other thing.
Check it out. This is a birthday of Miles Davis.
Oh.
Congratulations, Miles.
Yeah, man.
You are one of the musical legends of our time. A true musical legend of our time.
It's Stevie Nicks' birthday too.
Stevie Nicks' birthday.
No, we're true musical legends.
And it's hey Keith, you'll love this. It's Levon Helm's birthday. Ain't that something?
One of my faves, man. One of my faves. Best singing drummer of all time. Yes.
Oh yeah.
The best groove ever. People will say, "Oh, Phil Collins," but Levon had a nice, just a nice, simple, tasteful groove, a cool voice, man. It's just, I don't know, he's my fave singing drummer.
It keeps going. Lily said Stevie Nicks. It's also Mick Ronson's birthday.
It's everybody's birthday.
This is a great day.
It is a good day.
It's a great day.
Hank Williams Jr.'s birthday is today. Holy cow.
Lenny Kravitz.
Lenny Kravitz.
It just gets better and better.
Lenny Kravitz's birthday is today.
Another one, a very, very cool musician. Yeah, Lenny's cool.
And that's pretty much it. Everybody else is like nobody we care about.
Damn.
They're just a bunch of schmucks. So Loudini Rock and Roll Circus is what you guys have been listening to. Chris Thunderwolf Dodson was hanging out with us today. We do appreciate that, Chris. Hey, so what do you got? You got any projects in there you're working on now, or are you kind of chill with the whole thing going on?
Oh, I'm still working my full-time job. I had one project that started a few months ago, and the bar. There's going to be a bar guitar to show off what they supported, like Darts, Cubs, Bears.
Okay.
I'm a Pittsburgh fan.
Yeah.
Somebody say so.
But I'll take it on, Once I saw that they were going to be selling their establishment, I reached out and asked them if they wanted their deposit back or wanted to keep going, and they want to keep going. So.
Okay.
I've got that one still going on now. So
That's cool.
That, and I'm just, I sold out my second batch of canned koozies. Got a third batch coming. Always doing, there it is.
Yeah, there it is.
There's the
Keith's
drum.
holding up the drum that
There's the
Chris did
drum.
for him. It's very cool. Very nice. Very nice.
Y'all see this? This is artwork done
That's
by the
fancy.
man talking.
Yeah. From our boy the Hawk.
That's right. This drum's sounding good and looking good.
And if
Awesome.
you
I
guys,
wish I could do both of them myself, but it's a little harder for me.
if you're looking for if you're interested in getting an instrument custom refinished, please go to wolfscustoms.online for more information from Chris Thunderwolf Dodson about everything he's got going on. Keith, what's going on in your world, brother? What do you got coming up this week? Anything?
No.
Wow.
No.
I do have a little odd, like, just to get to the topic one more time, we have a little common thread between these two bands, to be honest with you. Pat Torpey was the drummer for Mr. Big, correct? Pat Torpey also played on that Ted Nugent album, just to say.
It's always intertwining somehow when we do the verses.
Oh, yeah, all them guys, those guys all know each other. That's when they're my age and will call your age and we'll have lunch, and next thing you know, they got a gig, you know?
Yeah.
I love that though.
Well,
I really love that.
there's a lot of great stories about this band and that band were in the studio at the same time. So and so
Exactly.
came over here and played on this track, and there's a story about that with Taking Care of Business, about that piano part. There was another band in the studio, and they kept on saying it needs a piano, and BTO didn't want a piano, but the producer went and grabbed the piano player from this band. It was in the next studio, and they laid down this track. The rumor on that was the pizza guy is not true. That is not the pizza delivery guy playing piano.
I've heard that.
Yeah, that's a famous rumor. It's not. It's absolutely not true. But yeah, so there's a lot of that going on. Oh, one I didn't mention was in '64, Marianne Faithfull recorded "As Tears Go By," the Jagger Richards song, accompanied by Jimmy Page on guitar and John Paul Jones on bass. So talk about
Never heard of them.
Yeah.
Not a fan. So talk
I
about
don't even know who that is.
talking about guys like kind of like intermingling and hooking up with each other. Stu played a show too this week. Keith, he played a house party.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
In fact, I could probably use to from time to time because bass players down here are just a little flaky.
What is it with bass
It's
players?
the bass player.
Yeah, geez,
It is. Hey, it's never me. I mean, come on.
No, I know. I agree. Trust me.
So
Bass players are just, there's something about bass players in New Orleans are just
No,
either
it's
the
everywhere.
really good ones you're not going to get. But if you got to pick from the crop that's hanging around, the availability.
there's a reason
I guess.
why they're available.
Yeah, you play a gig or two, and you're like, yeah, you're a friggin' idiot.
A
So,
group
I mean,
of bass players is called a flake.
Ooh,
Exactly.
good one.
Man, where'd you get that from?
I just pulled it right out of my butt, honestly.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So what do you got going on, Lily? Anything?
I have nothing going on this week, unfortunately. My show will be Thursday, though, 6 to 8 on p.m. Eastern on rockrageradio.com, or just download the app and you can listen to it there for free.
Download the app.
Download.
It's all about them apps. We had some great music as well on today's show. And let me review that for you real quick. We started out with Dead Man's Whiskey. You want to go to deadmanswhiskey.co.uk. Then we played Shadows of the Cloud. Shadows of the Cloud, one of the members, and I apologize, I'm sorry, is in part of our group at LouLombardiRocks.com. And he says, hey, check out my song. And I'm like, your song is awesome. We're going to play it. So shadowsofthecloud.com to get more information. We're going to get out of here. We're going to play a track that Keith and I play together on, since Keith's on. And yeah, so you guys enjoy it, man. If you want more information, you want to get with the coolest rock people ever, please go to LouLombardiRocks.com and check it out. If you need custom work done on an instrument, please go to wolfscustoms.online. And if you want to listen to great guitar-driven rock 24/7, please go to rockrageradio.com, download the app, and just rock the F out nonstop. Right, Lily?
Always.
Chris, take care, brother. Hey, Chris, hang out for a few minutes. Keith,
Okay, will do.
good seeing you, man. I'm glad you were on tonight. Stick around.
Thank you
got
for
Lily
having me.
V6, everybody. We'll be, this is Where Have All the Acid Queens Gone? We'll catch you all in the next Loudini Rock and Roll Circus.
Woo!
queens gone? Tell me where have all the asset queens gone? I wanna know where have all the asset queens gone? Tell me where have all the asset queens gone?
That's wet. What do you think? I'll wake it up. That's water.
I've only known her for 20 years.
Only. You're, besides Carl next door, you're the only neighbor I know.
Carl! Hey, Carl! Save.
We started the first for one.
So what are we talking about next week? Keith, what are you doing?
What do you mean?
What are you doing? Oh, I'm sorry. It's on a delay. The YouTube feed is up, and it's on a delay, and you were standing over by the kitchen. Sorry.
I'm looking for alcohol.
You can't find any?
Did you drink it all already?
There's plenty there. I'm just going to... There's a little debate in this house. Who makes a better martini? So I'm going to let the wife make it for me. So we're going to have it like... Basically, it's on, as they would say. We'll see who's better.
What's better?
Martinis are something that I only drink like 2 of, and I'm completely toasted. So let me just get through one, and then we'll be able to get the rest of the show done. Other than that,
nice.
It's going to be a roller coaster ride for y'all. I don't know what the hell's going to come out of my mouth next.
What's a shirt? Is it just The Shining? Or does it say something?
It's a picture of Jack Nicholson. Not today's National Jack Nicholson Day.
Is it? I did not know that.
No, it's not that actually.
He just making that up.
So
it's just a funny shirt. I think
it's cool. So what are we doing next week, guys? What do you guys want to talk about? Here we go.
We always do this.
I don't know. What do you want to talk about?
I don't
know. What do you want to talk about?
Are we into June next week?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be the first week in June.
So what's the week that we do the album?
Second week.
That'll be June 9th.
We need a topic then. Yeah, there's going to be put me on the spot here. So I mean, I don't know at this point what best posthumous album by an artist.
Well, we said something during the show about
it was the lineup.
We talk about bands with lineup changes. Which lineup of
Whitesnake,
or
I mean, we can look at a band that's had several. Because if you think of Whitesnake, you think of David Coverdale.
I think that's going to be like. I think there's maybe 10 minutes we can talk about that.
Yeah, legit.
That's what I mean. I mean, you need a band with like, or you can talk about why the Red Hot Chili Peppers keep bringing back that Junkie John Frusciante because he's in the band again for the third friggin' time.
That's because they.
I like John Frusciante as a guitar player, but goddamn, kid, I mean, how many times are you going to fall off the wagon?
What about Tesla versus somebody?
I like talking about Tesla.
I used to know a dude that loved Tesla. He worshipped Tesla.
I liked him a lot.
What about
They've-
Tesla? That's another one. It's like Tesla. Is that a hair band? I don't know. Is it?
I don't know that I would count them as a hair band.
That's what I mean. They were more acoustic based. I mean, what kind of band are they?
They were like they had a different vibe. They were like had the more like 70s vibe with the jeans and they didn't have the real flashy kind of look.
Outfit and hair.
Yeah.
But I've seen Tesla in concert once. They're in Smalley Crew, which is a hair band. One of the great hair bands of all time. So I mean, I think they got labeled in with those. They got categorized maybe somewhat sort of. But I never considered them a hair. I just don't know what kind of band Tesla is. Maybe that's something you could think about that and like maybe one or two other bands where you'd be like, what are these bands? You know what I mean? It's like, what are they genre? What is their genre? I mean, it's definitely a rock band, but Tesla's not a hair band. I don't think they had long hair, but shit, I don't know.
Well, everybody did then.
But,
but
they got tons of hits.
That's what I mean. I mean, they were all over the radio. Like Love Song is constantly. It's still played on the radio now.
Yeah.
I really love their first album. I'm just like, I can't get enough of that record. I played the shit out of that record, man. I just loved it.
I saw something the other day that we could do for a show, and damn if I can remember what it is now. It's going to drive me insane.
Now we're talking.
I wish I would have wrote it down.
It's a martini for y'all. Cheers, y'all. I got that.
Cheers.
Blue cheese stuff olives, too.
That fancy glass you got there.
Here he goes.
It's a chalice. I'm gonna drip my finger out on this one. That's superb, Lupus. To quote Water Mouthful in the original Bad News Bears.
What's that?
What's that? What? Oh, that's my doorbell.
Oh, that's right. Remember?
I thought it was Night of the Living Dead.
I thought that's the same setting. I'll never change that. There's nothing else is as interesting.
We were talking about like Lily and I were trying to remember super groups last week, and then
we had a problem with that.
Well, I said the winner of this one tonight can take on Velvet Revolver in a bloody cage match. I don't know.
Well, Velvet Revolver. What about Contraband? Remember that band? That was
but they had like one hit.
Yeah, they did.
And that was a freaking cover tune.
Yeah, but it was still cool.
Yeah, it's a cool band. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I couldn't tell you who was in it, but I mean, yeah, it's a cool band.
It was Michael.
Tracy Guns was in that band.
Yeah,
right?
and Michael Schenker and the bass player from Vixen.
Name escapes me.
The chick. They were all the Vixen was all chicks. Chickson. Chickson.
Which chick? Wait, I wasn't paying attention.
The chick from Vixen, the bass player from Vixen.
I just met her too.
There was the Firm.
The Firm was a cool band.
The Firm was a cool band, but they had two albums, and it was really only the first album that did anything. And I don't know.
Yeah, but it was badass.
It's good. No, it's great. That first record is amazing.
What about Bonham?
I love Bonham.
Man, I don't know if everybody. I mean, would you categorize Bonham as a supergroup? It's Jason Bonham and a bunch of dudes that sound like myself.
Yeah, no, I don't think I would.
I mean, Cream was the original supergroup, I think, but
yeah,
and they were great. But it's hard to compare them with anybody. It was like the styles are different. That's just kind of apples to oranges. But I mean, supergroups are. But you could definitely even take the bands we talked about tonight, and expand upon that with the Velvet Revolvers of the world, the Contrabands, and the Firm and shit. Man, there's more we probably forgot.
Oh yeah.
There's one now with George Lynch, Doug Pinnick, and
Well, here's something like
you're bringing it up.
You forget. Technically, Bad Company's a supergroup.
Yeah, you could say that.
Crosby, Stills.
Even when Paul Rogers was with Queen, I mean, it was like Paul Rogers and Queen. They couldn't just call it Queen because that's it's a little...
Audio Slave's a supergroup.
Yes, there you go.
Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young is a super. Temple of the Dog.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, there's a lot. Once you start digging into it, there's a lot. And I mean, if you want to have the battle of the supergroups, who's the best damn supergroup ever, you'd have probably a serious fight on your hands.
Why don't we do like the top supergroups instead of doing a versus?
Do a top 10.
The top 10 supergroups of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that ain't no thing.
Can you do it?
We could talk for an hour on that.
Do whatever you want. We have to make it rain out here, man.
And there it is.
Make it rain.
Here's Rolling Stones list.
That's not a super group.
Rolling Stone magazine.
Rolling Stone. Yeah. No, the Rolling Stones sat down and said, they've got Number 10 is Bad Company. Number 9 is Audio Slave. Number 8 is The Highwayman. Number 7 is Mad Season. Wow, I forgot
Blind
about Mad
Faith.
Season.
I forgot about that.
Blind Faith.
Holy
Is,
crap.
yeah. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young is number 5. Them Crooked Vultures.
That's a cool. That's a
I always
cool
forget
band.
about that band, but that's
They were like. I think they had one album. Oysterhead was another band that I forgot about that was super good.
yeah, that's a Les Claypool and
And
Stuart Copeland.
it was Les Claypool, Trey Anastasio from Fish, and the great Stuart Copeland. I think they made one album.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Temple,
Good album, but they should probably do another one.
Temple of the Dog,
Another
Cream,
cool band. Cream was probably
Traveling
and
Wilburys.
the Traveling Wilburys. They have as number 1. I forgot about
That's
that.
another
What
one.
about Mother Love Bone?
That's probably a good topic right there. We could do. So I mean, those are all great. They're all great bands. They all have like moments where it's just awesomeness. I don't know who made Tom Petty and Bob Dylan sing harmonies together on that one Traveling Wilburys song. That's sick. But other than that, I mean, it's.
I don't know, man. They sound pretty good to me.
They sound good too, but sometimes certain voices don't blend as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
You should put Jeff Lynne in there for everything.
Well, Jeff is he's kind of like a glue. You know what I mean? He's a producer. He knows how to make everything sound right. I mean, I don't know.
Exactly.
We got George Harrison and Tom Petty don't know what the fuck they're doing. I'm sure they know what they're doing. And there's all those guys like, you know what I mean? Like, they would
they bring in like Jimmy Kelder to play the drums. It's like, it's an amazing group,
Bob Dylan just celebrated his birthday about a week ago.
Yeah.
And he was touring until the COVID thing happened. He said that he made a deal with, what he calls the Lord of this world, that he would continue to play music until he absolutely couldn't do it anymore.
I actually think he made a deal with the devil.
That's what he says.
His voice is effing awful, and he still made a lot of hits.
Right.
Maybe I've just become accustomed to it, but his voice absolutely does not bother. Do I think he's a great singer? No, but it doesn't bother me at all.
It depends on the song for me.
It just doesn't. When I first heard him, when I was really young, I was kind of, oh my God, that's terrible.
What are you listening
But the
to?
more I've just, and that he has guys that imitate him, like Tom Petty's vocals are influenced by Bob Dylan for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So there have been guys that have come after him. Springsteen, in a way, is kind of influenced by Dylan too. So I got kind of used
there's
to
guys
it.
that are like at best, and then people can slam me for this or whatever. I encourage it. Thank you very much. Bring it on. It's the thing where you could make that. And I think we did that in the past sometime. It might have been BL before Lily, but it's like one of the things where the top singers that have pulled the biggest fast one of all time. It's like these guys are multimillionaires. They've had tons of hits, and they can barely sing.
Tiny Tim, not Tiny.
My mother met him.
Tiny Tim, I don't know if he'd be on to make that. Bro definitely can sing, but I mean, yeah, I need somebody with like more than one hit.
Yeah, what the fuck?
You got to be in if you're going to be in Ringo Starr's all-star band, you got to have at least 2 hits. That's the rule for that band. There's guys that just can't sing at all, and they're just amazing.
I would like to do I'd like to do a podcast sometime on the top 10 slow guitar players. The top 10 guys who never play a fast thing ever.
Oh, I thought you meant special.
What do you mean, like Eric Clapton?
No, Eric Clapton plays a lot of fast stuff. He's not slow.
But he's slow hand.
Nah, that slow hand is a compliment, meaning like he's like that's like a sexual kind of
That's
thing.
what I was thinking.
That's a sexual thing. That doesn't mean he literally plays
That
slow.
also mean his guitar style?
No, it just means like he's like, he's got good hands. He can, make you come.
Well, I mean, that's all these years I had it wrong. That I apologize.
No, I mean guys like the guys that always did never like Billy Gibbons never plays anything fast. He's never plays fast licks. Joe Walsh rarely plays any like really fast stuff. He's like really kind of. Mike Campbell is another guy. All his solos are So that might be further, maybe down the road. Mike Campbell's in Fleetwood Mac now.
I knew that.
Yeah, I mean he fits that, but is he really? I mean they had that other guy. They had Neil Finn in there for a while too.
Yeah, they brought Mike Campbell, and that's cool.
I mean, hopefully. I mean, I just don't. I love Mike Campbell. I just don't think that it's hard to replace him. It's hard to replace Lindsey Buckingham, man. I'm sorry.
Well, when they did when they did it the first time, they needed 2 guitar players.
That's what I mean. It's like, to me, it's like, if we're talking guitar players, Lindsey Buckingham is like the most underrated guitar player of all time.
I don't think I suspected that when
and a great singer and a great songwriter. That dude's he's a triple threat.
Yeah, I don't think that Mike is the only guitar player. I think there's probably another guy. There would have to be because
Mike Campbell's a totally great guitar player. I love Mike Campbell's playing. He's like he has that identifiable sound. He's like, oh shit, that's Mike Campbell. When you hear the opening lick to Boys of Summer, you know that's Mike Campbell. That's him on that recording. That's Mike Campbell.
Yeah, and he wrote the song. That's another thing. He's a great songwriter. He wrote that. Tom Petty said he brought that song to Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Yeah, and Tom's said, like, nah. I don't know, Mike. I don't really think this is going to be anything.
So you say, Tom. So you say.
Even Tom Petty, we can make a mistake. That's great.
OMG.
And are you guys, any of you guys Neil Young fans at all?
No, you and I got an argument back in the day about his guitar playing, but that's a whole thing.
No, I don't like his voice.
I think he plays guitar like old people fuck or whatever. You said you liked him. I seen him live once, and his guitar solos were so long and just so like borderline sloppy and just sort of
borderline.
And he's
I don't like his voice.
I don't want to be too crucial. I don't want to get your blood boiling. But it's like it's one of the things where Pearl Jam actually called him the godfather of grunge. I mean, who's Pearl Jam to say anything about grunge? But it's one of the things.
Well, Pearl Jam needs to be quiet.
He's the father of grunge.
I don't know. It's just.
I mean, he does that solo to the river, and he plays one note, and I just think it knocks me out, man.
The Cinnamon Girl was cool.
I like Hey
Cinnamon Girl. That's awesome. That's
Hey My. That's heavy as fuck, dude. That's a heavy riff.
When I was trying to play guitar at one point, I learned that song. That's how hard that was.
I'd rather hear Cinnamon Girl by Typo.
Yeah, Typo does a good version of it. But Neil Young's one of those guys who's like vocally.
I don't like his vocals at all. I think they're
super
whiny.
He has a weird voice. Yeah,
he's vocally challenged.
Yeah, but he was in Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and they all sang harmony together. So he's got something. He's got something about his voice. I don't know, man. Like, what do you say about that? You know what I mean? That's like weird.
He's in the same. There's, like I said, I think we did a podcast on it years ago. Guys,
the other three covered him up.
They're not great singers.
I don't think they covered him up. Songs, I mean, he was in there for a reason. Like, they didn't need him. I mean, they were already Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
And Steven Stills is a decent enough guitar player. He can play leads if they need
Well, the thing of it is Steven Stills and Neil Young were both in Buffalo Springfield together. So
exactly.
I mean, they have a relationship. They're friends, So, maybe that's what that was about. I don't know. I don't know, man. There's a lot of Neil Young stuff.
It's always bros before hoes in music. You know what I mean?
I don't know, man. Neil Young, I love Mr. Soul. I mean, there's so many songs by him I really, really love. I don't know.
I don't think his songs are bad. I don't think he's a great singer.
Oh no, I didn't say I think it was great. He's vocally, he's an acquired taste like Bob Dylan. He's in the same category, absolutely.
Yeah.
But he's one of those guys. He's one of those guys you hear you hear so much on the radio that after a while you just accept that's how he sounds and you just quit thinking that it sounds bad. I don't know how to put it. I don't know.
That's called brainwashing.
Maybe I'm brainwashed. Somebody washed my brain.
Like, the songs are catchy. All it takes is a hook. I mean, you really
all it takes. All it takes. That's so funny.
Do you think people listen to the song "Just a Friend" by Bismarck E and thinks he can sing? You know what I mean? It's just one of the things.
I mean, I think sometimes, man, sometimes I think it's harder to write something really simple that's like amazing than it is to write something really complicated that's got all kind of parts and stuff like that.
Exactly.
There's something about that, when the Beatles could do something really, really, really basic and just knock people out, some of that, there's a real art to that. I mean, I don't know how to express that.
I've already stated in the past, I'm a big Jack White fan. I think he's totally talented, but I don't think he's a great singer. His voice is kind of a friggin' annoying.
His voice is like Neil Young's.
Yeah, it's annoying as shit. but he's a decent guitar player, more better than people think give him credit for. But he's a good songwriter. At the end of the day, write songs. If you can't sing, just write good songs. Shit, man, you might make it big. 'Cause look at these guys.
I think too. I think, and then I've heard people from like in the industry say that they're always listening for like a unique voice, something that will be uber like memorable that like you won't forget. And guys like that have that. It's very like you don't forget Jack White's voice. You don't forget Neil Young's voice. You don't forget Bob Dylan's voice. You don't forget Kurt Cobain's voice. Like some of those guys that have this kind of like on the edge kind of voices where it sounds like the whole thing's going to fall apart any minute.
Yeah.
You know?
I'll tell you another one who's made a huge success for himself by doing that. Billy Corgan. That dude is just, as soon as he opens his mouth, you know it's Smashing Pumpkins. You know it's Billy Corgan. He's writing all this stuff. But then again, that voice is just, it's borderline obnoxious and like it probably should be destroyed.
Yeah.
Yep.
You want to actually, if you could take one nuclear missile and nuke something, it might be Billy Corgan's voice. I'm just saying.
He was on, I forget what podcast he was on. He said he can tell the difference in the tone by the color of the guitar.
All right. I've had enough of that.
So, all right,
Okay,
so we're going to do top 10 supergroups next week.
Yeah, I like that idea.
All right.
I like it.
So pick them out. You can't copy Rolling Stones list. That's illegal.
It's illegal.
Come up with your own shit.
Oysterhead.
Oysterhead.
Mother loves.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we each come up with our own list and we'll just talk about all three lists?
That's fine. We can do
That's
it.
perfect.
It doesn't have to be like one list. Why not?
No, we never do that. Why do that? Because if we were all going to agree, this podcast is just
We do what the hell we want.
agree on everything.
And then after that, we're going to do all Kiss.
I'll do that. Okay, cool. What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. I knew a couple when I went to Rocket Pod last year. Talked to several other podcasters who were always like, "Yeah, we hate Kiss, but every time we do a Kiss podcast, it gets the most downloads."
It does, though. That's the way it is.
There were several podcasts that were just Kiss. That's all they ever talked about.
You should do the top 100,000 reasons why Kiss sucks my ass.
100,000 reasons.
Wow.
If you
I'm
can
up
come up
for
with
that.
100,000
We can
reasons,
do that. That'd
I
be
would
a
totally
6
make the whole
months worth
thing.
of podcast. You'll think of no other topic for 6 months.
We all have like
Keith,
long
we'll do our
beards
own
and stuff.
podcast like that.
No, I won't have a long beard.
No, but all your other hair will be long.
I'll have a beard down there, I guess.
My beard down there. My down there beard. All right, guys.
Speaking of Billy Gibbons. You guys are messed up.
you said it.
It came out of your mouth.
Hey,
Just put a pair of
I'm hanging
sunglasses
around
on
with
it,
the
Lily.
crowd. I'm hanging around with these people from Canonsburg, PA, and that's what happened.
He warned us that one martini.
That one
I
martini,
told you
look
guys.
out.
I told you guys, once I get my bartender out here for another one, it's game on.
Oh, shit.
All right, my man. You guys have a good one. Chris, thanks for hanging out with us, buddy.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
No problem, man. You take care.
I want to do it. I want to do it again. This was fun.
Yeah, let's have the Wolf back whenever he wants to come back.
We'll get him back on. We'll get him back on
The
for
guest,
sure.
the guest stars, man. The guest stars. Every week we have a guest star. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. Have me on once a month.
Okay.
There you go.
All right, guys. Hey, you guys take care. We'll catch you next time, okay? We'll talk to you next
Right
week,
on.
Keith. Take care, buddy. See you, Chris.
All right,
Later.
kids. I want your meatloaf.